Good morning, everyone. It's been a rough 36 hours or so. You could probably tell. I didn't prepare anything for this video. I just kind of wanted to sit down and have a conversation with you guys. A very sincere one, because we recently went through, a very scary for us and stressful situation concerning one of our pets. This is kind of a PSA of sorts. And it has to do with pet insurance. I've seen people asking whether or not they should have it. We have friends that are considering it, but wonder if it's worth it. And this is basically me telling you, absolutely. Especially if you consider your pet a family member like we do. And I would hope that all pet owners do. About 1 a.m. Yesterday, the 20th of September, we woke up and found what looked like diarrhea on our carpet. And we had experienced a similar episode with Kai before. And we took him to the vet and he was prescribed a stool softener. Just a little bit more background. Before we even started giving it to him, we saw him go and his stool was hard. So we actually didn't even end up giving it to him. We thought, hey, it was just a fluke thing and it passed. Well, we weren't even finished cleaning up the first mess before he made another one, and we saw it happen with our own eyes. And it happened not to be diarrhea, it actually came out the other end. It just looked and smelled like feces. So this, of course, worried us tremendously. Between us first finding the mess and him throwing up, it was about 4.5 hours. So it was about 5 a.m. now. And we're faced with the decision of taking him to the emergency room or waiting until the vet hospital opened. He threw up again an hour later, and our decision was made to some extent. So we packed things up, we got into the car, and we started driving and realized we wouldn't be to the vet emergency hospital in Jamaica Plain until 7:30. So we decided to wait here until our local veterinary hospital opens at 8 a.m. in Lynn, Massachusetts. So it's North Shore Animal Hospital. So we waited and we went. He got blood work done and he got x-rays done. The x-rays were inconclusive. The blood work showed that his platelets were low, meaning that his blood wasn't clotting properly. So the x-ray being inconclusive, meaning they weren't exactly sure if there was a blockage there, they couldn't even exactly see. It gave us 3 options. Number 1, we could do some exploratory surgery, which really was an option because of the platelets being low. AKA, again, he can't clot properly. So they didn't want to go cutting in and he couldn't clot. So that was ruled out. Next was the wait and see. We could either let them keep him or we could take him home and give him fluids. They would pretty much do the same thing and see if it passed. What worried them is his throwing up, especially the smell and the consistency, and just he wasn't himself. So the third option was to refer us to a specialist, which was the most expensive option, but it wasn't really an option for us because his well-being and being sure was what was really most important to us. All told, that office visit cost about $350 or $400. Includes the visiting, includes the x-ray, includes the blood work. When we got to referral clinic, it was just me. We split up. Danielle went home to take care of the other 2 dogs and to work from home. I took Kai to the Mass Veterinary Referral Hospital in Woburn, which is about a 30-minute drive from us. When we got there, they gave us a rundown after I gave them the history, and they spoke to North Shore Animal Hospital. They decided that the best course of action was to go with an ultrasound. It would give him a kind of a 3-dimensional look of his intestines rather than the flat kind of look from the x-ray. That costs about $450 in itself. The office visit costs about $150 in itself. Now, to give you a background on our insurance, it's through Nationwide, and they cover 90% of non-preventative care. So we're going to be seeing a huge chunk of this money back, which made our decisions kind of no-brainers. They likely would have wound up being the same had we not had the insurance. However, it just made the process much more expedited. We're able to just, you know what? Money isn't an issue. Now we're just talking about time and you know, based on the information we have, the necessity of the procedures. And I can't tell you how important, how valuable that was to us, and how important and valuable it is to us going forward. Unfortunately, the ultrasound, it also wasn't too conclusive. They found a mass, but they just didn't know what it was. You know, they didn't know if it was grass, they didn't know if it was just some food that was just taking its time going through. It just, unfortunately, it didn't give us much more answers. They actually wound up doing an additional x-ray there, even though they had the images from the x-ray we did at North Shore Animal Hospital, and they were kind enough not to charge us for it, just because they were really, I mean, they were looking for what's causing the nausea, you know, which leads to throwing up. Because whatever this mass was, it wasn't causing a blockage, meaning it's not what was causing whatever he's eating to be coming back out the other way. And, you know, so that's troublesome because now we don't know what's wrong with him. You know, we don't know what's causing the nausea. We don't know what's causing the throwing up. We don't know if there's some other underlying issue. Which leads us to our next and our biggest decision of the day, which wound up being, again, so very easy because we were covered. They wanted, or not that they wanted, but they recommended going in with a scope. What that is, they take a camera in through the mouth, they sedate the dog, and they take a look around in the inside with the camera, and they can pull anything out with while they're in there that's causing the obstruction. So it was guaranteed that they were going to pull out that mass if we went with the endoscopy. So at that point, it was not about the money, it was about his comfort. We knew that the mass wasn't the threat or a threat to his health, but we knew that there's a very good chance of him being much more comfortable once it was removed. And while they were in there, they could biopsy the intestine and send it off for further testing if this in fact wasn't the cure. So I called Danielle, told her what's going on, and I told her my opinion, which was I want to get the procedure, and she agreed right away. We didn't even know the cost. Now imagine that. Imagine being with your pet and then being sick, and you're in a place and you don't know how much money this procedure is going to cost. But it doesn't even play a factor in because you're just covered by your insurance. There's no describing how helpful, how valuable that was to us. Where the only thing that mattered was how he felt. You know, even if, you know, letting time pass by was an option to see if, you know, it'll pass. It really was an option for us because we wanted our guy to get better. Wound up being about $1,800 for it, somewhere along there. So all in all, our office visit cost about $2,000 there. So it was $2,000 at the referral hospital, and it was about $500 at North Shore Animal Hospital. So all told, we shelled out $2,400, you know, within a matter of 24 hours, less than 24 hours. And we'll be seeing at least 90% of that back. But most importantly, come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wow. Most importantly, we have 100% of our guy back. Almost 100%. But we saw it from the moment we picked him up. we saw a change in his attitude, and it really lifted our spirits, you know, because we spent most of the day either at some kind of hospital or clinic with him, or with him there alone, because when he went in for the procedure, I had to leave him there. You know, I just can't tell you enough how important it is that you insure your pets, because a time may come where you're faced with the decision between their comfort, their well-being, or even their life, and whether or not you can afford it or not. And thanks to Nationwide, we weren't put in that place, and now we have our guy back, and he's healthy and he's happy. You know, I don't know how much you know, each person's individual policy would be, but how much is it worth to you for that kind of peace of mind? Is that right, buddy? So that's it. That's what I want to share with you guys. If you have pets, if you love them, which I would hope that you do, insure them, because you can't predict they're going to live a long, healthy life. But you can do everything in your power to make sure that they do. Thanks for watching, guys. Till next time. Say bye. Say bye. Bye
for now.
All right, guys.